Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And boy, oh boy, we have another episode for you guys today that you definitely want to stick around for, so make sure you go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, we all are fully aware that the Lakers season last year was an abject disaster, total disaster. They went from being championship hopefuls to not even making it into the play-in tournament. I think towards the end of the season, the Lakers were not able to win not even 32 games. It was only at the end where I think they went on a 2-game winning streak and finished the season, I believe, with 33 wins. It was that bad. We got a chance in the midst of all of that to witness the back and forth between Russell Westbrook and the media and fans. Y'all remember the spat that Russell Westbrook had with Skip Bayless for calling him Russell Westbrook, and his wife had to step in and all of that. And at the end of the season, it seemed as if the players were totally unclear as to why their season ended up in a failure. When they started asking the various key players of the Lakers on the Lakers roster, why do you think the season ended the way that it did? Anthony Davis pointed to injuries. AD said, well, the reason we weren't able to succeed is because we weren't healthy, forgetting the fact that the team right across the hallway had to go the entire season without Kawhi Leonard and basically had Paul George for about 25% of the games. They somehow were the 8th seed and they made it into the play-in tournament. When they asked LeBron, do you think that this season for the Lakers was a failure, given the fact that going into this season, you guys had, I think, the third best odds or the second best odds to win the NBA championship behind, the Brooklyn Nets? LeBron said, no, I don't think it's a failure. And then when they got to Russell Westbrook in his mind, he felt, and we did the video on this, he felt he had a successful season with the Washington Wizards because although they made it into the playoffs and they got knocked out in the first round, at least he was able to average a triple-double. And for Russell Westbrook, averaging a triple-double is a successful season to him. So these were some of the things that the players were saying, and it was one of the reasons that I felt that this team may be in jeopardy, but it didn't end there. At the end of the season, with about a game left in the season, the icing on the cake was when the Lakers fired their head coach or their former head coach in one of the most classless ways you can think of, and it was so bad that it drew criticism from people like Reggie Miller and others, where people just were totally disgusted with the Lakers. And now it seems, since the dust settled, that another report just came out, according to CBSSports.com, where we're getting this from, that this Laker team, this Laker, whatever you want to call it, saga, may be taking another twist. There's another plot twist. I want to quickly get into the article here from CBS Sports and really come back and unpack this. So the article starts off with the headline, Lakers coaching update, Phil Jackson consulting Los Angeles on searching for new head coach per report. The article continues on. The Los Angeles Lakers are looking to their past as they try to rebuild for the future of their organization. 5-time Lakers championship coach Phil Jackson is consulting the team on its search to replace former head coach Frank Vogel, per ESPN. Jackson was also consulted during the search process that led to Vogel's hiring, according to Adrian Wojnarowski from ESPN. Obviously, Jackson's involvement in the coaching search is hardly surprising. He has had a long-standing personal relationship with the owner, Jeannie Buss. The Athletic reported in March that Jackson had been in frequent contact with Buss about the team. The Lakers have a tendency to stay within the family when it comes to team matters. They consult those who have succeeded with the team in the past, including Magic Johnson, who resigned as a team president in 2019, but as Buss revealed, is still frequently consulted. Jackson falls under the same umbrella, but Jackson, even as an 11-time championship winning coach, has a spotty history in organizational roles. The New York Knicks have never reached the playoffs during the Jackson's tenure. He infamously drafted Frank Natilka over Donovan Mitchell, and his best draft pick was Kristaps Porzingis. Grew so frustrated with the team that he eventually got traded to the Dallas Mavericks. And then basically the article continues on. So basically, this is the update. The report is now that Phil Jackson is the new consultant for the Los Angeles Lakers. Let me tell you why this is all alarming. It is alarming because it now seems as if there's going to be another voice that is going to be brought into the decision-making process, which makes it seem as if the Lakers have no clear leadership structure. Who is the boss? Seriously, who is the boss with the? Is it the owner? Is it the general manager? Is it LeBron James? Who's the one making the decisions? When you have the leadership structure and the executives and Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka, when you have these guys reaching out to consultants, it means that you cannot do your job to the best of your extent, to the best of your abilities without reaching out to somebody else. Why are you reaching out to Phil Jackson at this particular point? What it looks like is that the Lakers have a situation in which there are too many chefs in the kitchen. Too many. And that is the problem. That's the problem. We recently produced a video, I believe it was 2 weeks ago or so, a week or so ago, where Isaiah Thomas spoke about the teams this season that were able to maneuver their way through an unpredictable NBA season. And he brought up a point, an example of teams that are able, that have strong leadership structure, that are able to weather the storm. And he brought up the Miami Heat. He said that the Miami Heat this season, due to all the injuries that they had, they ended up having 9 undrafted players on that roster. As we currently speak, the Miami Heat are in the Eastern semi-conference finals in the Eastern Conference right now. The Miami Heat. Even after all of those injuries, they were still able to figure out a way. Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, all the executives at that team were still, with the players and all of that, given the culture that they have, the Heat culture, they were all able to figure out a way to keep that team afloat. Look at the Los Angeles Clippers. The Los Angeles Clippers, they didn't have Kawhi Leonard all season long. Paul George missed about 75% of the games this season. But due to the fact that they have some smart people working in that organization, like Lawrence Frank, you have obviously the consultant in Jerry West, probably the best team builder in NBA history. Of course, you have Tyronn Lue, who is the undoubted leader of that team. They were able to figure out a way to be at least competitive, and they made it into the play-in tournament. But in the scenario, but in the situation where you have teams that don't have any clear leadership structure, they always struggle. Look at the Brooklyn Nets. To this day, we don't know who the leader is on the Brooklyn Nets. Is it the GM, whose name escapes me at the moment? Is it Kyrie Irving? Is it Kevin Durant? Is it Steve Nash? No one knows. If you look at the Lakers, who's the leader? And I think there's a common thread between teams that have no leadership and those that do. The Lakers are in a total shamble right now. And now they're going to be relying on Phil Jackson to help them with their coaching. You guys don't have enough data to understand the type of coach that you need. In my personal opinion, I've heard some people out there throw out the idea that, they need Mark Jackson. Really? Do you think that those guys would like being coached hard by Mark Jackson? Another candidate that I've heard being thrown around is Mike Brown. Is Mike Brown going to be the guy? Mike Brown, is that the guy that they're going to use? So to me, listen, I think this is a bad sign. This is a bad sign because if the Lakers can't even get this right, this is just the beginning. And don't forget the fact that LeBron James and Phil Jackson also have a spat. How do you think LeBron James feels about the news of now Phil Jackson is coming in as a voice? Do you think that LeBron is going to be happy about that? Does it matter? Yes, it does matter because LeBron is the leader, at least on the court. So to me, I don't know what the Lakers are doing, but I think there's just going to be. I think we should expect more as the season progresses, especially into the summertime, because there's a lot of things that need to be answered with the Lakers in terms of their roster. They're not even talking about roster construction right now. They're talking about coaching. So to me, I think this is a pretty big story, and I'll be very interested to hear what you guys think about the Lakers now needing to bring in Phil Jackson to help them with their, with finding a new coach. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.